Ladies and gentlemen, first of all let me get something clear. Human beings are designed to make quick judgments, and this propensity is deeply ingrained in our evolutionary history and serves several adaptive purposes. So I exhort you to not feel guilty about something that has been engraved in our DNA since the dawn of human history as a necessary tool to survive. Like everything else in this world, being critical and focusing on the negative has its positive and its negative side. Quick judgments are essential for our survival instincts. In prehistoric times, quick judgments were crucial for survival. Rapidly assessing potential threats, such as predators or dangerous situations, allowed our ancestors to react swiftly and effectively to ensure their survival and the continuation of their genes. Unsupervised, our minds quite naturally turn to the negative. Man did not survive as a species because he prioritized singing birds and enjoying fluffy clouds in an optimistic impulse, choosing to ignore the hungry bear stalking him from the bushes. Quick judgments are also needed for efficiency. Making quick judgments conserves cognitive resources and allows us to process vast amounts of information efficiently. In our fast-paced modern world, rapid decision-making enables us to navigate daily tasks and social interactions more effectively. Quick judgments are often required to rely on mental shortcuts or heuristics, which are cognitive strategies that simplify complex decision-making processes. While these shortcuts can sometimes lead to errors in judgment, e.g., stereotyping or bias, they also allow us to make reasonably accurate assessments in a fraction of the time it would take to analyze every detail. Quick judgments are integral to social dynamics and interactions, where we often need to assess others' intentions, emotions, and trustworthiness rapidly. These snap judgments help us navigate social hierarchies, form alliances, and establish rapport with others. And last, but not least, being able to judge quickly is crucial for our adaptability. This allows us to adapt to changing environments and circumstances. Whether facing a new situation or encountering novel stimuli, our capacity for rapid assessment enables us to adjust our behavior and responses accordingly. But while quick judgments are often beneficial, it's essential to recognize their limitations and biases that often make our minds stagnated and unwieldy. The antidote is cultivating self-awareness, critical thinking skills, and empathy so we can mitigate the negative effects of snap judgments and make more informed decisions in various aspects of our lives. But being in a state of constant analysis of what surrounds us, although much needed for survival and efficiency reasons, can also become a barrier between us and the outer world that prohibits our integration. Being in this state where we constantly analyze everything we notice and surround us takes a colossal amount of mental energy that ultimately costs us our peace of mind, mental energy, and creativity. Thus we shoulder a huge evaluation burden. Going out among people, most of us are able in only few minutes to notice 50 different things to criticize, and each of these things we can categorize by putting it a box with the exact stamp in which we believe it belongs. And I am here to talk to you today, my folks, because I believe many of us apply the evaluative approach way too much and way too often. And because things often don't fit into frames, a scrolling in the mind begins. We start to wonder, what the hell is this? This can be another thought, memory, dream, or desire. And a thinking begins in which box to put it. It doesn't completely belong anywhere. It doesn't go anywhere because most of these boxes are abstractions, or to say it another way, they can fall apart with every new emotional impulse. So all this thinking little by little leads us to obsess over our own thoughts. But where does this tendency to overthink, to criticize, and to identify ourselves with our thoughts and opinions comes from? The addiction to overthinking stems from our helplessness to understand the world through our already accumulated knowledge, expectations, and ideas about it. This scheme, though universal, is more peculiar to the male mind, I shall say. Let me explain. So, the boy decides that he is an adult and that he has enough experience to live on his own. But his life experience is only a complex of stereotyped thought patterns acquired by previous generations. To master these stereotypes, one doesn't have to think, he just has to remember them. So a man tries to learn as many definitions and concepts as possible, so that in the future nothing distracts him from the main goal, earning money. And when a man doesn't find a ready-made option in his arsenal to solve a task and actually has to think, this is a signal to him that he is not ready for real life. According to this scheme, it turns out that one should think only when they don't know something. And the fact that you don't know something makes you doubt yourself. Doubts are perceived as a form of weakness. In such a way, the thought process for the man turns out to be a sign of weakness. And weakness for him is a completely unacceptable option. For this reason, as a rule, any attempt to revise already acquired knowledge is typically denied, no matter what field it concerns, from the everyday life to the science. Revision requires admitting the error, breaking the stereotypical codes. This scares the man. He considered himself a connoisseur of the world around him. And in order to continue and feel comfortable in the future, he only has to use the knowledge he already acquired. So if a man has decided that he is ready for life, it means that he knows it all, hence, basically no other knowledge can penetrate his thought process. I don't mean the professional knowledge that helps us make money, of course. And just to clarify why I made this intromission, women remain a student even in adulthood. The woman is not ashamed if she doesn't know something. Because the outside, surrounding world is not her diocese. A woman is ashamed if the child is bad behaved, if her appearance is neglected, if the house is dirty and messy. But to admit that she doesn't know something and fill in these gaps is not only not something shameful for her, it's even prestigious. Women, of course, are not exempt from identifying themselves with their prejudices and opinions, judging and criticizing everything that doesn't fit to their beliefs, but the root and the reason for this attitude stems from a different place. It is not so much a question of ego, fear to lose their identity or security, in case that they change their mind about something. Women use criticism much more often as a way to eliminate and disparage their competition from a safe distance, through passive aggressiveness, without the risk of entering into a direct, head-on collision and confrontation. But a woman is generally less inclined to identify with her opinions and barricade her ego with them. Of course, as I've already specified, these stereotypical behaviors are more typical for men, which is why I made this division, but both men and women can lose control of the reins of the mind and let the garden of the mind be overrun by weeds. We must understand the importance of ignoring this incessant need to subdue the outer world in our minds. This urge to take every thought, analyze it, wrap it up, put it in a box and put a label on it, this is correct, or this is incorrect, or I am right, he is not. Simply because things are constantly changing, constantly evolving. We are also changing. Everything around us in constant motion. Assessments ossify our minds, make them clumsy, difficult to adapt to changes. The world can only be understood in its constant movement, in the capture of the moving particles, and not in some definable stasis in which we can confine it and pass judgments on what we consider it to be or what we don't think it should be. But in a world where judgments often seem to be most common currency of social interaction, in a world teeming with diversity and complexity, the act of releasing oneself from the compulsion to judge others emerges as a powerful act of liberation. The instinct to judge others often arises as a means of navigating the intricacies of human interaction. At the heart of this liberation lies the recognition that the desire to judge is rooted in an innate human tendency to control our environment, a desire that ultimately leads to frustration and disillusionment. By relinquishing the need to judge, individuals can find a profound sense of freedom and acceptance, both for themselves and for those around them. However, the act of relinquishing this desire to judge opens the door to profound personal growth, fostering deeper connections, empathy, and acceptance. By embarking on the journey of letting go, individuals can free themselves from the constraints of judgment, paving the way for a more enriching and harmonious existence. The impulse to judge others is deeply ingrained in human nature. From an early age, societal norms and cultural conditioning shape our perceptions of right and wrong, good and bad. These judgments serve as a means of categorizing and understanding the world around us, providing a sense of order and predictability in an otherwise chaotic universe. However, this very impulse to judge can also be a source of conflict and division, as we impose our own standards and beliefs onto others, often without fully understanding or appreciating their unique perspectives and experiences. But what really lies behind our need to condemn things as they are? At its core, the need to judge others is driven by a desire to control our surroundings. By labeling and categorizing people and situations, we seek to exert a sense of mastery over our environment, creating a sense of security and stability in an uncertain world. Yet, this desire for control is ultimately futile, as we come to realize that the complexities of human nature and the unpredictability of life defy our attempts to impose order and certainty. The desire to judge others stems from a primal need for certainty and control. From the moment we are born, we are bombarded with societal norms and cultural expectations that shape our perceptions of right and wrong, good and bad. These judgments serve as a coping mechanism, helping us make sense of the world around us and providing a sense of security in an otherwise uncertain environment. However, this very impulse to judge can also be a source of division and conflict, as we impose our own standards and beliefs onto others, often without fully understanding or appreciating their unique perspectives and experiences. In releasing ourselves from the need to judge others, we embrace a fundamental truth, that the only thing we can truly control is ourselves. By letting go of the illusion of control, we open ourselves up to a deeper understanding and acceptance of the inherent diversity and complexity of human experience. Rather than seeking to impose our own standards onto others, we learn to appreciate the richness and diversity of perspectives that make life truly meaningful and fulfilling. Moreover, releasing the need to judge others allows us to cultivate greater compassion and empathy towards ourselves and those around us. When we cease to view others through the lens of judgment, we create space for genuine connection and understanding to flourish. Instead of seeing differences as barriers to be overcome, we recognize them as opportunities for growth and learning, enriching our own lives in the process. The journey of letting go begins with the recognition of the limitations of judgment. We come to understand that our perceptions are colored by our own biases, experiences, and conditioning, and that they may not always align with objective reality. By acknowledging the subjective nature of judgment, we open ourselves up to a deeper level of self-awareness and introspection, allowing us to examine the underlying motivations and assumptions that drive our tendency to judge. One of the most profound benefits of releasing judgment is the cultivation of empathy and compassion. When we let go of our preconceived notions and biases, we create space for genuine connection and understanding to flourish. Instead of seeing differences as barriers to be overcome, we view them as opportunities for growth and learning, enriching our own lives in the process. By empathizing with the experiences and perspectives of others, we foster a sense of unity and solidarity that transcends the limitations of judgment. Moreover, letting go of the desire to judge others requires a willingness to embrace vulnerability and uncertainty. It means relinquishing the false sense of superiority that judgment often provides and embracing the humility to acknowledge that we do not have all the answers. In doing so, we cultivate a sense of openness and receptivity towards others, recognizing that true understanding and connection can only arise in an environment free from the constraints of judgment. Letting go of our desire to judge equalizes to embracing open-mindedness. There is a power in letting go of preconceived notions. In a world saturated with information and diverse perspectives, our minds are often cluttered with preconceived notions and biases that shape our understanding of the world. However, the act of letting go of these entrenched beliefs opens the door to a profound transformation, fostering greater empathy, understanding, and growth. By embracing open-mindedness, individuals can break free from the confines of their preconceptions, opening themselves up to new possibilities and enriching their lives in the process. Preconceived notions are formed through a combination of personal experiences, cultural influences, and societal conditioning. From a young age, we are taught to categorize and interpret the world around us based on these ingrained beliefs, shaping our perceptions and influencing our actions. While these mental shortcuts may provide a sense of security and familiarity, they also limit our ability to see beyond our own narrow perspective, hindering our capacity for growth and understanding. The journey of letting go of preconceived notions begins with a willingness to challenge our own assumptions and beliefs. It requires a commitment to questioning the validity of our ingrained beliefs and remaining open to alternative viewpoints and interpretations. By cultivating a sense of curiosity and humility, we create space for new ideas and perspectives to enter our consciousness, expanding our understanding of the world and enriching our lives in the process. Moreover, letting go of preconceived notions requires a willingness to embrace uncertainty and ambiguity. It means acknowledging that the world is complex and multifaceted, and that our understanding of it is inherently limited. Instead of clinging to rigid beliefs and interpretations, we learn to approach each new experience with an open mind and a willingness to learn. In doing so, we cultivate a sense of flexibility and adaptability that allows us to navigate the ever-changing landscape of life with grace and resilience. One of the most profound benefits of letting go of preconceived notions is the cultivation of empathy and understanding. When we release the grip of our own biases and prejudices, we create space for genuine connection and compassion to flourish. Instead of viewing others through the lens of our own limited perspective, we learn to appreciate the richness and diversity of human experience, fostering deeper connections and mutual respect in our interactions. It's a transformative process that liberates us from the confines of our own narrow perspective, opening the door to greater empathy, understanding, and growth. By embracing open-mindedness and remaining curious and receptive to new ideas and perspectives, we enrich our lives and cultivate a deeper sense of connection with the world around us. As we embark on this journey, let us remember the words of the philosopher Socrates: "The only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing." Releasing ourselves from the need to judge others is a transformative act of self-liberation. By acknowledging the futility of seeking to control our environment through judgment, we open ourselves up to a deeper sense of acceptance, compassion, and understanding. In embracing the inherent diversity and complexity of human nature, we find freedom from the constraints of judgment, allowing us to live more authentically and fully in the present moment. In conclusion, the journey of letting go is a transformative process that liberates us from the shackles of judgment, opening the door to deeper connections, empathy, and acceptance. By embracing vulnerability and uncertainty, we create space for genuine understanding and connection to flourish, enriching our own lives and those of others in the process. As we embark on this journey, let us remember the words of the poet Rumi: "Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right-doing, there is a field." I'll meet you there. If you liked this video, if you found it helpful and useful, I would really appreciate your support via like and comment. I'll see you in the next video, my warriors of light.